Hello, this is Dan Morgan, Service Delivery Manager at Beyond20, and today we're going to take a look at adding a new tab to your form arrangement in Cherwell Service Management. If I drill down into one of my tickets here from the dashboard in my Client tool, if you go into an individual record, the form arrangement is where the tabs show at the bottom of your ticket, your incident, or your service request. So when this comes up here, you're going to see a bunch of tabs along the bottom. Journals, tasks, similar incidents, config items. This is called the form arrangement. So this is the area where you can add additional information or capture information about child records that are attached to that parent incident. So let's go ahead into our admin tool. I'm going to create a new blueprint, and I'm going to navigate to my incident object, which is a major object. And over on the right, you'll see a section called Edit Form Arrangement. So I can click there, or I can go up to the last icon in my toolbar at the top. Those both take us to the same place. So I'm going to click on Edit Form Arrangement. So that'll bring us to that layout with our main body of the ticket near the top, and then all of our tabs down at the bottom. So here's the main body of the ticket, and here's all of our tabs at the bottom that we saw on the Smart Client. Now we didn't see all the tabs in the Smart Client because some of them may be hidden. Some of them may only show at certain times, like the approvals. That would only show if you had one or more approvals. Resolution details. That would only show if your ticket was resolved or closed. Reason for breach. That would only show if the ticket had breached either its resolve or its respond SLA. So to add a new tab at the bottom here, very simple to do. When you're in this form arrangement view, we've got a bunch of relationships over here on the left, all the relationships that are built from the incident, and we've got some forms too. You can check out one of our other videos on how to create additional forms in Cherwell to see how those are accomplished. But any of these items here, either the relationships or a form, I can very easily click and drag him over and drop him. So I've already got res breach here, but I'm going to drag him anyways just as an example. So I'm going to left click on reason for breach, and I'm going to drop him. I can put him anywhere I want here. You'll see as I drop or at least roll him over the other layouts, the tabs on either side kind of move aside for me and I can drop this guy. So I'm going to put him as the first one. Now I can make a few changes to what happens with that tab. So if I right click on the tab after I've dropped him, I can click on properties. And then I can change a few things about that. First one I could change is the text. I could call this maybe my reason for breach. So by default, it's going to name that tab the same thing as the form, or it's going to give you the name of the child object from the relationship if you drag a relationship down. So not only can I change the name, I could put an expression here too. So quite often we'll build the name of these tabs with maybe a counter in it. So instead of just journals, it'll say journals, and then they'll be in brackets 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever that might be. So at a quick glance, I could just look down here without having to click on the journal tab, and I know how many journals are actually there. I could also have an image. So by default, it's dragging this little image of the question mark and the exclamation point. But if I click on the little picture, it's going to bring me to my image manager, and I could grab any image from the built-in images of Cherwell or an image that I imported myself. I can also change the visibility here. So I mentioned that the resolution tab does not show unless the ticket is actually resolved or closed. So very easy to put an expression on that and say maybe I only want to show this tab if the incident call source equals maybe email. So this visibility expression is always a true false. It's going to show if whatever you build here is true. It will not show if whatever you build there is false. So let's take that off. The other thing we can look at is the tab contents. If I click there, I've got a few options. If it's a form, you don't have any of these grid options. That only works or is exposed if this is a relationship, which makes sense. If it's a relationship, you could have one or more objects listed down there. So you could show them either in grid view, in form view, grid and form horizontal, grid and form vertical. And if a grid was applicable, you could do the grouping that you can do with any grids in Cherwell. And you could decide what your default view is. Again, this is just a form, so the only option I have is the form view. I don't get the grid view. And then also, if I click new here, this isn't applicable for a form really either, but if it was a relationship, can I create a new whatever? Can I create a new journal? Can I create a new task? And am I allowed to delete those objects? So normally if you drop a form, you're not going to turn on Show Toolbar because you want that form to always be there. If you don't want it to always be there, then you just use that visibility on the tab. And then I would just save my blueprint and publish that, and then I would have that new tab down on my form arrangement for everyone to see. So that's an easy way to add a tab to your form arrangement in Cherwell Service Management.